bacon. Baking and not bacon, like oink oink, baking, like in the oven. Okay, now I'm just tangled. Okay, hi. We're back. I've been working on a cake. I've been doing different versions of basically the same cake, trying to master the cake, but the ADHD of it all, I have to still make slight variations of the cake. So, oh, I forgot the raspberry. Oh, wait. Okay, I think I have just enough to squeeze a little raspberry or drizzle a little raspberry. Okay, all right, we got this. Okay, what I should do is okay, cute. We have a bag. Let me actually do this now because by the time the cake is mixed, we'll want this to be ready because then we're gonna squeeze in a little bit of raspberry into the hearts. So, and I don't know how many it's gonna fill, but we have 2 trays out just in case. Again, trying to just be ready. Okay, so let me go ahead and transfer this to here. We need some of the stones from some of our friends. So we're gonna get my favorite teeny tiny spatula. Teeny tiny spatula. Okay, so we're just gonna very gently scrape. This is fresh raspberry jam that I made day before yesterday. And so what I want to do is once we have our cake portioned out into the heart molds, I want to squeeze little bits of raspberry into the batter. So that's what this is for. Okay, I think that's going to be everything. Okay, great. All right, great. So let's go ahead. Whoa, let's go ahead and have this ready. Okay. Let's see. Get our raspberry ready. All right, so all we have to do is snip it when we want to pipe it, but it's pretty much ready to go. Okay, so that's our raspberry jam that we're gonna pipe into our little hearts. Okay, great. Now it's ready. Hi, hello. Okay, so we have our raspberry jam. Great, so then I'm gonna set that aside. So now, all of my ingredients are already portioned out and have been coming to room temperature. So we did that already. Shout out to the person in the comments that was like, you don't have your ingredients portioned out. Sometimes I think that's part of the fun of the live, but I do agree that sometimes we just wanna like go into it. So today's one of those days that we're just like getting into it. Okay. So we have our dry ingredients and our wet ingredients all portioned out. Let me get my recipe just to remind myself of the order. And we need our mixing bowl. Okay, great. We have our mixing bowl out of the dishwasher. And the first thing that we're gonna do is cream the butter. Sorry, I wasn't in frame. The first thing that we're gonna do is cream the butter and the sugar together. So let's do that. Okay, so here's our mixing bowl. And we're gonna get our balloon whisk. Actually, let's wait for that. Let's put in what we're gonna need. So here's granulated sugar. This is 150 grams of granulated sugar. So that goes in there. And then we have our butter. And this is 85 grams of unsalted butter. So we're gonna put that into our mixing bowl all together. Okay, great. Now we take our balloon whisk, pop it on, scrape that little bit of butter on there. Perfect. All right. Then drop in the head of our mixer and mix this together for 3 minutes. While this mixes, I'm gonna mix together the dry ingredients. So this is our cake flour. We have baking soda, baking powder, and salt. So I'm gonna add those here. Okay. Take a little whisk, mix this up. Great. Now we have 1 minute left on the butter and the sugar. And what we're going to do is in 1 minute, we're going to add avocado oil. Now, we have a wet mix that also needs to be put together. So, 1 more minute, and then I'll stop this for a second. All right, so we're gonna let that take a quick little break for a second, and we're gonna mix. Thank you. Okay, got it. Thank you. Okay, so in a minute, we're gonna add the oil and the eggs to this mixture. But once that gets all mixed up, then we're gonna alternate between a dry and a wet. So our dry has been mixed up. Now we're gonna take a quick second and mix up the wet. So we have some buttermilk, we have some sour cream, and we have some vanilla extract and some almond extract. So I'm gonna take the buttermilk and I'm gonna dump it into the sour cream, just like so. Okay. Love a tiny rubber spatula. I have so many of these and they all get used. Okay, and then we have our vanilla and almond extract. So we're going to pour that in. And then I'm just going to gently mix this together so that it becomes our wet mix. And it's just kind of like gently loosening up some of that sour cream into the buttermilk and letting that vanilla and almond extract also get nice and mixed in there. Okay, great. So it's relatively mixed. Now we're going to take a quick second to scrape our bowl. And this is our butter and sugar that's been creaming in the bowl for a few minutes. So we're going to scrape the sides of the bowl. Just like so. And then we're going to drop this back in again. And we're going to add the avocado oil. Great. And now we're going to add the eggs one at a time. So one egg and then the second egg. And we're going to scrape the bowl in between. So bring that down again. Scrape this in. I like to scrape the balloon whisk in between. Egg's not. Okay. And give a little scrapey scrape. A little mixy mix. Great. Now, pop this back down. Second egg. Okay, great. So now, what I like to do is at this point, transition from balloon whisk to hand mixing because we don't want to overmix the batter, and I find it easier to control your mixing so that you don't overmix is by hand mixing towards the end as much as possible. Hello, thank you for saying hi. Hi. Okay, so what we have now is the fixings of our batter, right? It's coming together. So far we have butter, sugar, oil, and eggs in our mix. Now we're going to alternate between a wet and a dry. And then that'll be our cake batter that then we'll portion out into the heart molds that are behind me. Okay, so need another towel. Okay. So now, we are going to take a quick little second. Okay, great. Okay, so we have, it's supposed to go dry, wet, dry, dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. Okay, so let's go dry, wet. Okay, so dry. Dry. Okay, and then by hand, I just mix it in with my spatula, making sure to scrape the sides of the bowl. Sometimes it's helpful to just turn your bowl around so that you get all those sides nice and scraped. Okay, now we have half of our wet mix, which is buttermilk, sour cream, almond extract, and vanilla extract. So we're going to take half of that. That was lovely. So gentle. So sweet. Okay. We're going to go ahead and mix this in. Our lovely cake batter's coming together. Okay. Some more dry. Great. Again, always make sure to scrape the sides of your bowl, just like that. Now we're going to take the last bit of our wet and scrape it in here. Get it all out of the bowl. Again, I love a teeny tiny rubber spatula for this. They're so helpful. At TJ Maxx, they have like the little molds that they sell. And there's one brand, I forget the name of the brand, but they always come with like a tiny spatula. Oh, I have so many of them and I love them all. Because especially when you're like baking a lot, sometimes I bake a few things in the same day. And just having a new, fresh, tiny spatula just waiting for you. Oh, it's the best. Tiny spatula. Oh, wait. Let me do a quick little scrape of this spatula. Great. All right. So now we're going to mix. Mix. Take that last bit of the wet mix, making sure to blend out any of those little bit of sour cream lumps that were left. You're not going to taste the sour cream. It just adds moisture and richness. Okay, and now we have the last of our dry, which is cake flour, baking powder, baking soda, and salt. All right, so one last gentle, and again, we don't want to over mix. So this is where we want to be like extra careful to just fold it in. We want it to be mixed, but we don't want to over mix. We want a nice tender cake, especially because these are small. So, you know what I mean? They can over bake very easily. So we want to give them as much of a fighting chance to come out nice and yummy and tender by getting them properly mixed in the beginning. So right now, we are there. We are there. The tiniest of lumps. But again, let's leave it like that. Kind of like pancake. Versus over mixing it. Okay. So now, oh my God, that sink is a mess. Okay. Now comes the fun part. So again, this is my first time making this this batch. I've made the recipe before. I've made the cake before, but making it into tiny hearts, this is my first time doing it. So I have 2 trays just in case. I'm not sure how many we're gonna get out of this batter, but we're gonna have some fun finding out. I'm using a cookie scoop to help me so that we can get somewhat even portions into our silicone mold. So let me just push this down a little bit so you guys can see. Perfect. Yay. Okay. So take some cake batter. Let's give it a little glance. I think that should be good. We also don't want to overfill our molds. So trying to see, I feel like a flush, not super chunky scoop is good. Let's see. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, it might be just enough. Okay, I think not filling this all the way is the move. So a little bit less this time. Maybe dump some back into our bowl. A light scoop. It feels like a light scoop is where we're at. Let's see. It smells so good. Yeah, that feels better because we want to give them space to rise. We want them to rise like Frankenstein's monster. Okay, but edible. All right, let's keep going. So a light scoop is the name of the game. A light scoop is the name of the game. Yep. Just like so. Just a light little scoop. Just a light little scoop is what she said. So what I'm doing now is scraping the side of the bowl to control how much I'm putting into my scoop. We're kind of playing with ratios right now because it's definitely not a heaping scoop. Not at all. We also don't want them to be too light either. But let's just get these spots filled in, and then we can always come back and assess and drop in a little bit more if needed to any of them. I think we're doing pretty good right now. I think this is the ratio. It's like a flat light scoop. Just a light little scoop. No heaping scoops here. Okay, we still have a ton of batter, so let me go ahead and swap out the tray. So glad I did that. I have one ready for us. The magic of television. The magic of YouTube vision. And actually, I think that first one, I think we're gonna scoop a little bit out of that first one. But let's get through this batter, what we have here first. So let's just keep going. Light scoop into our heart. Light scoop into our heart. Light scoop. Now I'm starting to scrape the sides. Let me actually do a little spatula moment. Get everything scraped off the sides. Okay. All right. We're going to keep going with our scoop. Scrape. Scoop. Scrape, scoop. Okay, let's take a look at our previous pan. Now that we're getting to the bottom of the pan, I think there's a couple, but I think we can transfer out of here. Let's take some of the batter out of here because she's a little thick. Put her here, just like so, which evens her out a little bit. Let's kind of flatten some of these out. See where we're sitting. I think everybody else looks good. I think maybe a tiny bit more for this one. And a tiny bit more for this one. Okay. Let's even this out. Okay. Okay. Okay, this feels good. These feel good. Like the tiniest in here still. Okay, good. All right, so we can set this aside again. And now we can finish out what we have left here. I think this one could use a little bit more right there. I think this one could use a tiny bit more right there. Okay. You, I think, are okay. are okay. You're relatively okay. Cute, cute, cute. Okay. So now let's finish him. I think it's basically, I think this is it. We're pretty much at the bottom of the pan. But I want to get every last bit out because we don't want to waste ingredients. So I'm a scrape the bowl till you can't scrape anymore kind of person. We're going to get all the batter. So I think that's good. That's good. Okay. Down to the last drop, I'm telling you. Down to the last drop. Okay. We are there. We have officially reached the last drop. Okay. So now, we're going to do one last thing. And this is very muy experimental. We're going to take some of the raspberry jam and try to pipe it in. And then bake it. Okay, so we're going to take our cute little heart cakes that we have here. And now we're going to take the fresh raspberry jam and pipe it in. Okay, so let's cut this. Oy. Okay, great. All right. Right? Yeah. Ah. Down to the last drop, I tell you. Down to the last drippy drop. All right. Cute. Beautiful. Okay. Now I'm going to take, oh, sorry, I didn't have this handy. I'm going to take a little cake tester and we're just going to give it like a little swirly action. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Swirl, swirl, swirl. Swirl, swirl, swirl. A little swirly, swirl, swirl, swirl. A little more swirl for you. And a swirl for you. And you get a swirl. You get a swirl. You get a swirl. And you get a swirl. And you get a swirl. And you get a swirl. You also get a cute little swirl. You also get one. Hey, how about you? You too! What about you? Yeah, let's go. Okay. Great. How are we feeling? How are we feeling, chat? How are we feeling, chat? Okay. I feel great. All right. So now, let's pop these in the oven. What do we think? I think yes. I think, yes, I think we are ready for the oven. What do we think, chat? I feel like I show speed. What do we think, chat? What do we think? Okay, now the ADHD is taking over. Okay, let's pop these into the oven. Let's go. So our oven is at 325. Let me check really quick. There's an in-oven temperature, so let's take a look at that. Our in-oven agrees that we are at 325. So I'm going to very carefully now pop these into the oven. Side by side. Just like so. Okay. Now, bake 18 to 24 minutes. So let's put 22 minutes on the clock. All right, so, hi, thanks for hanging out with me. Those need to now bake in the oven, and then they need to sit in the mold, and then they need to chill in the fridge. The plan for them is that, you know, the little candy hearts that come out in Valentine's that say like, I love you, or like, you're cute, or be mine, stuff like that. So I ordered some edible pens, and the plan is that tomorrow, if you haven't subscribed, it's a perfect time to do it. So when I go live tomorrow, what we're gonna do is come back with these cake hearts. We're gonna dip them in melted white chocolate. We're gonna let that set, become like a little shell. And I wanna color some of the batch. So it'll be like half white chocolate, half white chocolate tinted pink. And then maybe we can even make some red ones. But the idea, or like even a different color, like orange ones. So it'll really look like the candy hearts. And then the idea is to cover the cake hearts in a white chocolate shell and then write little messages on them for Valentine's content. So I hope you enjoyed that. This cake is super, super yummy. It's relatively easy as cakes go. Highly recommend it. If you want the recipe, leave me do a community post where I can type out and share the recipe. I'll be making this cake again, but in a different form. One of the other reasons why I'm testing this cake so much is that I was booked for a show that's called The Talent Show at the end of last year, and my talent was cake artistry, and I basically decorated a cake on stage while lip syncing to a Sabrina Carpenter song as Glinda. And so I made it to the finals. So in a few weeks I'll be at the San Francisco once again as a cake artist, again decorating a cake on stage, this time again as Glinda, but a different part of the story of Glinda. I want to keep some of it as a surprise. So if you're in San Francisco, please come by the talent show, the 19th of February in San Francisco at the Stud. Please, please, please come by. I'll definitely record it and then I'll share it afterwards so that you can see the full story arc. But I'm having an outfit that's custom made, and I have some of my drag family that's like helping out with the number, and we're doing a full story arc. So if you're in San Francisco, come on by. Anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and say bye for now, but please come back if you wanna see the cake hearts become cake hearts that look like candy hearts, or B, you wanna watch me. I need to do one more trial cake of the cake that I'm gonna do on stage because I need to basically practice the frosting. And what happened last time is that I used a buttercream frosting that I had in a cooler, like with ice, but it stayed, like I didn't pull it out with enough time for it to warm up so that I could properly frost on stage. Thankfully, I had like edible flowers and other ideas in mind for my decoration, so I kind of had to scrap that plan. So last time I didn't like properly frost the cake on stage. So this time I'm gonna try a different frosting approach. And what I need to do is just do like a trial run and then like just here from home, like make the frosting like I would that day, have it in the cooler, and then pull it out with the amount of time that I think I'll have there at the venue to then practice the frosting and see how the frosting holds up in a cooler for a couple of hours. And then I need to be able to like pull it out of the cooler, warm it up long enough. It's science, man. Anywho, hit subscribe. I'll be back. I love you. Bye.